Good morning, class 11. In today's session, children, I'll tell you about the quantum mechanical model of atom, which is also known as wave mechanical model. So this model basically, children, is based on quantum mechanics, but you don't have to go into the depth of it. You all are aware how the atom, the modern model of atom appears to be. It has a centrally located nucleus, which is made up of proton and neutron, whereas neutron is uncharged and proton carries positive charge. And outside the nucleus you have a three-dimensional space, and that three-dimensional space, most of the space is empty with few electrons which are present in the various orbits. So this is what we know according to the modern model of atom. So children, you must have done this model in your smaller classes also. In fact, in the beginning of the session, I told you that what we see, the picture of an atom we see today is, here is a nucleus, okay, and then we have the orbits around the nucleus in which the electrons are present. The electrons are continuously revolving in these orbits, but actually children, this is a 2D representation where you see only the nucleus or the orbits are present in one plane. But actually what is the actual figure of an atom is, you have a centrally placed nucleus with the electrons revolving around the nucleus like this. Okay, so this is a three-dimensional figure actually. So now I'm beginning with this quantum mechanical model now. So basically there was a very important scientist named Schrödinger. He gave an electron probability wave equation. This equation actually tells us about the probability of finding an electron in an atom. The equation is mentioned here. You don't have to learn this equation, but you must know what is Schrödinger wave equation. So this is the equation, children. In this equation you can see that all the three coordinates are involved, that is x, y, z. All the three axes are there, and these three axes indicates, XYZ axis indicates that the probability of finding the electron in an atom is in 3 dimension. That is, electron can be found in x axis, in y axis, and in z axis. Okay, and rest all the terms which are mentioned here. D indicates the differentiation. Here it is D square means double differentiation. Psi is it is wave function actually. You don't have to go into the detail of it. You will be doing it in your higher classes if you will be pursuing chemistry in your future. So basically you need to understand that this equation tells us about the probability of finding the electron in an atom, which is three-dimensional. It can be found in any of the three axes. Okay, E and V are what? E is, you know, it is EMF, and energy, and V is what? Potential. Okay, so and psi is the wave function. So basically this much information is enough for you. And what is psi square? Children, sometimes in your exam you just get a question to explain the significance of this function, of this psi square. So this psi square tells us about the probability of finding an electron in an atom. So you only have to remember this much. Okay, this equation is known as Schrödinger wave equation. Now, what are the other points of this equation? Electron as a wave is three-dimensional. As I told you, according to de Broglie's hypothesis, electron is a wave also, and it is a particle also. It is a three-dimensional. It as a wave, it is three-dimensional, as you can see here. and solution of Schrodinger wave equation gives three variables that represents the position of electron, that is the position where the probability of finding the electron is maximum. Exact position of electron cannot be predicted. That is why I am using the term probability here. You cannot locate or you cannot find the exact location of electron in an atom, but you can find the probable position. So basically when you solve this equation, you don't have to solve here in class 11, but when you solve this equation, the solution of this equation gives three variables, okay, and these three variables represents the position of electron, and that is what is the probable position of electron in an atom, okay, and these three variables are three quantum numbers. These three variables are three quantum numbers. We will be studying about quantum numbers in detail. This is an important topic. It is an important topic of this chapter. You get questions most of the time in your exam from this topic. And those three quantum numbers are N, L and M. S is also a quantum number, but this is not derived from this Schrodinger wave equation. That has a altogether different meaning that I'll explain you later. And what is the meaning of N, L and M we will study right now. So basically children, quantum numbers, they are 4 in number, which helps in finding the probable location of an electron in an atom. In other words, the probable address of the electron can be calculated or can be found with the help of these 4 quantum numbers. So you can see here, quantum number may be defined as a set of 4 members with the help of which we can give the complete information about all the electrons in an atom, but these informations are not exact, these are probable. In short, they tell us the address of the electron, that is the location, the energy, the type of orbital occupied and the orientation of that orbital. So before I start explaining you this, first thing that I need to tell you is that how to locate, how to find out the location of an electron in an atom. So to explain you that, please children, follow this order that I am telling you. When you move inside an atom, the first thing that you encounter are the shells. Okay, are the shells. Shells are also known as orbits. Please pay attention to this. This is very important. Whenever you enter into an atom, the first thing that you encounter are shells or orbits, which are also known as energy levels. These are also known as energy levels, and according to Bohr are also known as stationary energy levels. So these are the various names. When you enter into atom, the first thing that you encounter is shells, orbits or energy levels. And then on further entering into the atom, when you further enter into the atom, crossing this shell, then you move to subshells. You will move to subshells, and then on further entering into the atom, you will reach to orbitals. Fine, you will reach to orbitals. I repeat, when you enter into the atom, the first thing is you choose the atom, then you reach the shells, then you reach to the subshells, and finally you reach to the orbitals, and in the orbitals we have electrons located. So if you have the information about these 4, that means you will be able to find out the probable position of electron in an. So now to understand it in a better way, children, you can compare it with description of your location. Now if you are telling about your location, the first thing that you will tell is the country in which you reside, then you will tell about the city in which you reside, and then finally you will tell about the locality, and then your house number, and in your house is you are present in your house. So following this, the person can reach it. This is just an example. The way, whatever way you feel is easy, you can compare it to. And similarly, now when you have to locate an electron, what will you do? You'll first of all find the atom, and then you'll reach to the shell, and then inside the shell will be the subshell, and inside the subshell will be the orbital. So this is the order you need to find. This is the order that you need to follow in order to locate an electron. And inside the orbital are the electron, and inside the house is U. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Now when you have to find out the position of electron, these are the various informations that you get from the quantum numbers. The information of shell, that is in which shell the electron is present, is given by principal quantum number, It is given by principal quantum number. It's written like this. And then the value of subshell you get from azimuthal quantum number, and of orbital you get from magnetic quantum number. And there is fourth quantum number, which is a spin quantum number. Spin quantum number tells us about the orientation of electron. It tells us about the orientation, that how is the electron lying in the atom. What is the orientation of the electron? So there are four quantum numbers basically. The principal quantum number tells us about the shell in which the electron is present. The azimuthal quantum number tells us about the subshell in which the electron is present. Magnetic quantum number tells us about the orbital in which the electron is present. And then spin quantum number tells us about the orientation. Okay, you can also understand it. Suppose this is the city, this is your house, these are the rooms, and this is your furniture in which you are lying. So you can also understand like this, that once the person enters into your house, the second thing is to locate your room. Then to find your position, he enters into your room and then fetch you on your furniture, whether you are sitting on sofa or lying on your bed. And then last is your orientation, whether you are lying in a straight position or you are sitting, or whatever the orientation is. So you can understand it like this. So children, this is a very important topic. Please pay attention to what I am telling. Now one by one I will be telling you about the description of each quantum number. So the first quantum number is the principal quantum number. The first quantum number is the principal quantum number, which is denoted by n. You can see here the principal quantum number is denoted by n. Second is the azimuthal quantum number, which is denoted by L. The magnetic quantum number is denoted by M. You can write it as ME, or you can also remember it as simply M. Okay. Or then the last ME or ML actually, but you can simply remember it as M. And the fourth one is electron spin quantum number, which is represented by MS or S. Okay, so these are the four quantum numbers. So first one is principal quantum number, which is denoted by N. So what is the information that we get from principal quantum number, or you can say what are the informations, because we get to know about a number of things with the help of principal quantum number. So principal quantum number, as I told you, it tells us about the shell to which the electron belongs. And what are the various shells? K, L, M, N. If you remember, suppose if this is the nucleus, then this is referred to as K shell. Then the second one is referred to as L shell, and third is referred to as M shell, and so on. And corresponding to this, the value of N is 1, and corresponding to this, the value of N is 2, and for this it is 3, and so on. So with this you will be able to find out the shell number. With the help of principal quantum number, you get the information about the shell number. It specifies the size of the shell, size of the shell is directly proportional to what? Size of the shell is directly proportional to the what? Principal quantum number, or you can say it also tells us about the size of orbit. So size of orbit or shell, orbit and shell are the same thing. Size of orbit and shell is directly proportional to, or shell is directly proportional to L. You can see here, if suppose this is the nucleus, this is shell number 1. This radii is only this much, and if you compare it to the second one, obviously the radius is increasing. Similarly, if you compare it to the third one, the radius is increasing. So as you are going away from the nucleus, the value of n is increasing. So obviously the atomic radii is increasing, and atomic radii increases, that means the size is increasing. It tells us about the energy of the shell. As I told you in my previous sessions that children, the electron which is present closest to the nucleus has the lowest energy, and it is the most stable because this is directly connected to the nucleus and held by strong electrostatic force of attraction. But as you move away from the nucleus, as you are moving away from the nucleus, the energy increases and stability decreases. And if you remember Bohr's atomic model, I told you the maximum energy of an electron in an atom is equal to 0. And that is in which shell? When n becomes, value of n is equal to infinity. So this is how the values of n is increasing, so the energy will also increase. So you can say that the energy is directly proportional to the value of n, and also the size is directly proportional to the value of n. It also tells about the maximum number of electrons a shell can accommodate, which is given by 2n square. If, for example, if you're talking about M shell, M means you are in third shell. In third shell, the value of n is 3. So the total number of electrons will be 2 into 3 square. It will be equal to 18 electrons. And if you have to find out the value of electrons, number of electrons in the first shell, what will it be? It will be 2 into 1 ka square. That will give you the maximum number of electrons as 2. Similarly, when you are in L shell, it will be 2 into 4, that is 8 electrons. So these are the informations that you get from principal quantum number. These are the various informations that we get from principal quantum number. Now the next part is azimuthal quantum number that I'll be telling you in my next session. I'm again making you revise these things, children. There are total 4 quantum numbers that you will be studying. First one is principal quantum number. Second one is azimuthal quantum number. Third is magnetic quantum number, and fourth is spin quantum number. This is principal quantum number. Okay, and this is what L is azimuthal, also known as subsidiary azimuthal quantum number, and M is magnetic quantum number, and S is a spin quantum number. So children, principal quantum number tells us about the shell or the orbit. Azimuthal quantum number tells us about the subshell. I'll discuss all these terms with you. Magnetic quantum number tells us about the orbitals, and spin quantum number tells us about the orientation. So these are the complete information, probable information that you can have about an electron in an atom. So children, I hope it is clear. I'll be discussing all these terms with you in detail. This is a known term with you. You know that what is shell, what is orbit, what is energy level, because this you have been studying in your junior classes, also in class 10 also you have done this. But these are the new terms that I'll be telling you in my next session. Thank you, children.